News Talk 610 AM and 102.1 FM. KBNU.
KBNU News Time is 4:03. I'm Bill Walter with this news update. Utah System of Higher Education released its annual enrollment numbers on Tuesday, and it was apparent the national trend of declining college enrollment is not a thing in Utah. Some of the state's universities reported reaching record highs of concurrently enrolled students, those taking college courses while enrolled in high school. Including high school concurrent enrollment data, USU's numbers increased 0.4% from 2022. More than 28,000 students are enrolled this fall, and the most at USU since fall of 2016. Utah State recently announced a 4-year scholarship program for fall 2024. USU Executive Vice President Robert Wagner says they have automated the admissions process, are waiving application fees during October, and have implemented an enrollment confirmation process to help with housing and registration. This fall, more than 400 new concurrent enrollment students have been added, an increase of 10%. Enrollment numbers at USU statewide campuses increased by 4.3%, as did Latino student enrollments from 2022 to 2023. Also, USU statewide campuses added more than 600 new and returning graduate students, an increase of 100 from fall of 2022. Idaho received a poor grade in a recent report analyzing redistricting in the state, but it has made the process fairer than many other states. The nonpartisan elections watchdog Common Cause gave Idaho a D grade for its process of redrawing voting district lines, which happens when states receive census data and use it to map the borders of legislative districts. Utah was given a C grade. Eleanor Cheehey with the League of Women Voters of Idaho notes one positive feature of redistricting in the state is its use of an independent commission.
It isn't a situation like some legislators where the majority could just bulldoze the minority or racial groups or whatever.
The report says Native American tribes expressed disappointment with the commission's lack of response to keeping their communities whole in the final maps. It also says the state could have done a better job including the public. Dan Vicuña is the director of redistricting and representation for Common Cause. He says in past decades, redistricting was a relatively unknown and unscrutinized process. However, Vicuña believes the public is increasingly connecting the shape of voting maps to their fight for resources.
The public understands that whether you're kept in one district with a community that shares concerns of all sorts can really make the difference between having a champion in the halls of power or not having a champion.
Vicuña says the states that fared best in the report are ones that took redistricting out of the hands of legislators in favor of independent bipartisan commissions. California and Massachusetts scored the highest grades, A-. A 47-year-old man from Harriman was killed after ramming into a building in West Jordan. According to West Jordan police, they were dispatched to the Smith's grocery store at about 4:30 Tuesday morning on reports of a vehicle colliding with the south side of the building. Upon arrival, officials found one person inside the vehicle. They immediately initiated life-saving measures, but the man was pronounced dead at the scene. The driver, identified as Tyler Talmoli, was later identified as the sole occupant in the vehicle at the time of the collision. It was determined no other vehicles were involved. The cause of the crash remained under investigation. Partly cloudy is the forecast tonight. Overnight low in the low to mid 40s, and then sunny, low 70s tomorrow. Sunny, mid 70s on Friday. Weather brought to you by Matt Robbins with Quality First Insurance. Don't settle for one company's insurance rates. Auto Owners Insurance and Quality First will give you options. Go to q1ins.com or call 435-752-0101. For more details on these and other stories, visit cachevalleydaily.com.
News Talk KVNU 610 AM and 102.1 FM.
This is Dr. Red, chiropractic physician with Red River Health and Wellness. Are you suffering with fatigue, brain fog, headaches, intestinal issues, weight gain, and you haven't been able to find any answers?
Before I started at Red River, I was having a lot of stomach pain. I was overweight, severe anxiety, some depression. I had been to multiple doctors. I'd been to specialists. We had done tests, and no one could find anything that was wrong.
Red River Health and Wellness can help you.
I'm on anxiety medicine. I've lowered my dose, and I'm working with my doctor to continue to lower it. I'm sleeping through the night. I have energy for my kids. I've lost 30 pounds. I just feel really good.
Our goal is to teach you and educate you so you know how to manage your condition a lot more effectively, and you know what to do and what not to do for the rest of your life.
Schedule your appointment today at 855-55-RIVER. Red River Health and Wellness with offices in Logan, South Jordan, Springville, and St. George.
Call Red River today.
The event of the year for manufacturers in Northern Utah is almost here. Attend the second annual Northern Utah Manufacturing Excellence Conference, Wednesday, October 25th. Collaborate with manufacturing leaders and resource experts. Enjoy lunch and a keynote from Ken Snyder, Shingo Institute Executive Director. When we strengthen Utah manufacturing, we strengthen Utah's economy. Register today for the New Me Conference on October 25th from 8 to 1 at the Cache County Event Center at CacheChamber.com.
Do you know a champion in our community? Nominate them for the KVNU Above and Beyond Salute. Every Friday morning at 8:30, we'll spotlight a firefighter, law enforcement officer, healthcare worker, or other deserving individual and give them a $40 gift card to Firehouse Subs. Submit your nominations for the Above and Beyond Salute by visiting kvnutalk.com. Help us recognize the champions in our communities. The Above and Beyond Salute, sponsored by Firehouse Subs on News Talk KVNU. The voice of Northern Utah. For the people.
We are waiting with bated breath for news from the Cache Republican Party meeting an executive committee tonight.
With Jason Williams.
And I'm really excited about this next segment. We have two guests here in studio. We're going to talk about something that we've talked about many times here on the show, but from a bit of a different angle.
Weekday afternoons from 4 till 6 on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102 FM.
Welcome to KVNU's For the People. It is Wednesday, October 18th. I'm Jason Williams, Bill Walter here in the studio as well. We are here for 3 hours tonight. Technically, we'll transition as our show ends today at 6 o'clock to the live from Logan City Hall municipal candidates debate. I've been invited to moderate that. So hour 2 of today's show will actually be pre-recorded to give me time to, has been pre-recorded, I should say, to give me time to get down to City Hall, get everything set up.
Fight traffic and find a place to park.
Yeah, fight that traffic. And Will Feel Right, our program director, is already down there. This is open to the public, so if you want to be there in person, you'll have an opportunity to write your question on a 3x5 card and hand it to me in person during the event. We've collected questions from our listeners as well, and it's going to be a fun night. For those in person, they get a little bonus because at 7 o'clock, I've asked them if we can go a little long because I have a question that I think will spark a little bit of a discussion between the 6 candidates vying for 3 spots. But we have some great questions that you'll be able to hear live on KVNU tonight, 6 to 7 p.m., followed immediately, 7 to 8 p.m., by the KVNU Coaches Show with Al Lewis and crew. So I'm sorry, not Al Lewis and crew. I forget that.
Used to be.
That's right.
The new gang.
The new gang. But that is tonight, 7 to 8 p.m. So a full lineup. Sorry, Dave Ramsey. We took all of his time tonight. I think. You'll get an hour. 9 to 10.
No, he'll be back. He'll be back tomorrow night.
Yeah, he'll be back.
6 p.m. to 8 p.m.
Okay, we're going to jump in here now. We have some very special guests joining us here in the studio. We normally do this in the second hour once a month with our friends from the Logan City School District. And hats off again to Logan City School Superintendent Frank Schofield for organizing this with us each month. He does all the planning. I literally just show up at the same time. But it's been a real opportunity over the last several months to get to know Logan City staff, employees, administrators, teachers, counselors, and students in various ways. By the way, if you're hearing that scraping noise on your broadcast,
it's because somebody is scraping.
Yeah, we're hearing it too. They ripped up all of our carpet today, and they're scraping out in the hallway, and it's a little loud. So that's not, you're not imagining that.
And our carpet will be gone one of these days too.
Yeah, they left our carpet in the studio here, but the hallways are bare. The painting and wood staining and everything else just continues.
So is this the second phase or third phase or fourth?
I don't know. It seems like it's already gone on forever, and we're not even to the part where they rip all our equipment out and put new in. Bill and I will be broadcasting from a closet for a couple of weeks, we've been told. It's pretty exciting, though. So
I heard it does have air conditioning, though.
Yeah.
The closet does.
So if you do hear that scraping noise, you're not imagining it. It is actual glue scraping. It's scraping up the old glue out in the hallway. So, all right, to it. Joining us here in the studio, Frank, do you want to do a setup of who we've got here and who they represent, and then
you bet
we'll get into it?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So thanks again for the opportunity to be here. We love coming and visiting with you and talking about some of the great things happening in our schools and in our community. We have 3 students here with us today. We've got Arian, Elia, and Dahoon. And did I mess up your name that time? A little bit. Would you please say it correctly in the microphone? Ariane. So,
yes.
Ariane, Elia, and Dahoon. So, the charity of these students, they've been being willing to come when I call them up and say, hey, would you be willing to come on the radio? And they're saying, well, I guess so. Why not? So I really appreciate them being here. But what we want to do, and the reason we've invited them, is these 3 students are all National Merit Scholar semi-finalists. And the way that works is over 1 million students are considered for this based on their junior PSAT scores during their junior year of high school. And then about 16,000 are selected as national semifinalists. So out of over 1 million students that are considered, they winnow that down quite a bit. And we have 3 of those students at Logan High School. So we wanted to highlight that accomplishment and celebrate the work that they've put into their achievements at school, the things that they're doing to prepare for their future successes, and kind of highlight them and give them a chance to talk about, what their plans are moving forward and what work has gone into their accomplishments that they've achieved so far. So just to spotlight some of the great stuff that's happening at Logan High School and really some of the outstanding students that we have. And the work that they do on a day-to-day basis. So that's why we invited them to come in tonight, and I appreciate their willingness to be here and share a little bit of their experience with our community.
This is now this William Merritt Award is not easily achieved. I know that, right? It's the bar is pretty high for getting recognition through this long-running nonprofit organization. Who wants to take a stab at that first? What exactly does it entail getting this recognition? Do you want to just go left to right here, starting with you, Dahoon? I assume a lot of studying, right?
Yeah. Not really specific to the PSAT. I think it's just the studying that I'd done throughout high school. Mm-hmm. Just kind of accumulating, just not goofing off in class, paying attention. All that just kind of adds up, and it helped me.
Oh, this is very nice. This test, Ariane, for you, this is an intimidating test, right? When you go in to take it for the first time?
Well, I would say for all of us here, we all took the SAT before we took the PSAT.
Okay.
And the PSAT, from what I was able to research, is supposed to be easier than the SAT. And so I think once you get the SAT, which is a much bigger deal, at least to me, the PSAT is much less worrisome, and you already have a lot of the SAT style and studying under your belt. So
sure.
I think that definitely helps.
So the nerves are already out of your system before you go into it.
Yes.
Very nice. And Elia, over there for your thoughts on what it takes, what you put into getting this recognition.
Yeah, I would agree a lot with what Dehun and Ariane said. I think it's less about studying for a big test and more just about always being there and being present in class and focusing on what you already know. And I almost find that if you get too caught up in studying, you lose sight of the fact that this is stuff that you've learned before. And so for me, I took the SAT first, like Ariane and Dehun. I knew the questions that I was going to be looking at, and so I was prepared for what I was going to see. I was relaxed when I walked in there, and it was easier to access that information that we had.
That is very... And for you, Frank, sorry, I know you just sat down, but this has to be a proud moment for you and for teachers at the school as well to have these students receiving this recognition, because at very least that means at Logan High the doors are open to this type of achievement.
Yeah, we celebrate this first because we do recognize exactly what these young people have told you today, is that achievement on a certain test or one specific assessment is not reflective of, well, I took a test prep class.
Sure.
It's reflective of a pattern of behavior and habits that have taken root over time that start with at home and start with the encouragement that parents give their children, and then are reinforced by the things that you get at school. The content that's presented, the opportunities for studying, the opportunities for advanced classes, and the thinking that comes with those classes. So to see that, I mean, we as educators, we celebrate that because it's the outcome, or it's the result of an extended period of lots of positive things happening that have been driven by these students, by their families, and then supported by the school. So yeah, we love the idea that we've been part of supporting these accomplishments, recognizing that they started at a much earlier time before they even got into our high school classrooms. So it's fun to see. We love watching them succeed.
It's very fun to see, because I know, this the commitment, I guess it would be a good word to use, the commitment to your education that is required to achieve something like this recognition. It's difficult to teach. It's difficult to stress the importance of. It's something that, talking with teachers, they've often told me a student has to decide this for themselves, to be this committed to their education. Can we work our way backwards now, starting with you, Elia? Where does that commitment inside you come from?
To
education in general, to being at school,
what drives you to do this?
Because I have to assume there are a lot of temptations to do otherwise, right? I know I fell for them a lot in high school.
Oh, for sure. I think there's definitely, obviously, a desire to goof off and go have fun with friends. But for me, I've always cared a lot about what I'm doing academically. I like learning. I like feeling myself succeed academically. And so I think that motivation came a lot just from inside of me, and knowing this is what I want to do. I have big plans for my future that I want to be able to achieve, and I can't get there unless I work hard while I'm in high school and in middle school, even elementary school.
Sure.
It's just always sort of come from wanting to succeed.
Can you talk a little bit about those plans? I assume, education doesn't stop for you upon graduating Logan High.
No. I want to go to university, and I'd like to get a law degree so that I could become either a foreign affairs lawyer or a diplomat.
Oh, wow. You're going to run for Senate one day. Remember this name, everyone. You're going to see Elia Rice Warren on a campaign for United States Senate one day. That is very cool. That's a very specific interest. Where does that come from? An interest in world events?
Yeah, I've, for most of my childhood, moved around a lot. I've lived in several different countries, and so I have a big interest in sort of interacting with international affairs. I've always been really interested in international news, and I guess it just sort of comes from that. I love to travel. I love going new places and learning new things, and I've always felt a little bit of a sense of panic when I think about the future of the world, and I'd like to be able to help make that better.
I think a sense of panic thinking about the future of the world means you're paying attention. Yeah. That's unfortunately the times we're in, right? What about for you, Ariane? This is, again, obviously a commitment to the education process, to being there at school, literally and figuratively. Where does that come from inside you?
I think a lot of it actually does come from my parents, but not in the sense of like them forcing me to be the way that I am, but they just know so much about the world, and I love having conversations with people that know a lot of things. And I feel like having a good education is so important in being able to have like intellectual conversations with other people. And I feel like I've also, like my Portuguese teacher is one of the smartest people I've ever met, and he's incredible. And I feel like if I didn't have the amount of education that I have, I wouldn't have been able to access like all the awesome information that he has. So I think cool. Being able to have those doors open to people all around the world is really cool.
That is very cool. This is really fun to hear these perspectives from folks so young, because again, it's easy to be very different than this in high school. The temptation's definitely there, right? And we'll talk more about that on the other side. In fact, something you guys can be thinking about for after the news break at the bottom of the hour, advice you might have for other students and parents out there. And finally for you, Dahoon, this is, again, a level of commitment that is easier said than done for most people, not only your age, but even for adults. What brings that love of being there, figuratively, literally, being a part of your own education each day that has you approaching it with such commitment?
I think something that just makes it really easy to be at school every day is just like the discussions that we have in class. I think that the classes that Logan High offers, a lot of them are like genuinely fun. Like Elia, Ariane, and I all had physics together last year, and it was a genuinely fun class. It challenged all of us, but like the
until
discussions
they get to the math. It's fun until they get to the math. That's No, I'm kidding. I was a physics fan too, but I struggled with the math. So that's one specific thing that grabbed your interest. Is that what you're saying, and made it a fun thing to be there in class?
It wasn't necessarily even that it caught my attention. It was just kind of like the discussions that we had in class and how they engaged everybody in like a really educated debate, and how it just kind of changed the way I saw the world. Okay. And just the way that Logan High classes work, especially advanced placement classes. I look forward to going into those classes and having discussions every day with my peers.
That is, this is, obviously the three of you have probably experienced it. Every student experiences it. And I know Frank and teachers and administrators deal with it as well. But everyone does learn differently. Everyone does have a bit of a different experience. But it's, do you have a strong dislike? Have you seen your educational options when you think about your own future change and evolve as you've had these experiences through high school? Or are you leaving it a little more open-ended for the time being?
I think someone else should answer the question.
You're open-ended, right? You're not sure where you're going to end up yet. That's I assume the same for Ariane and Elia, that your education doesn't stop in your plans at graduating senior year. Mm-hmm. You're going to go on.
Yeah, for sure.
That is very cool. This is, everything you will read on, advice for parents, training for teachers, getting kids to love being there, to love being a part of the education process is really, the biggest hurdle, and oftentimes easier said than done. But for our listeners, again, we're speaking with 3 Logan High School students who have done that. They've committed themselves to their own education in a way that allowed them to excel and get some recognition through this William Merritt Scholarship Program. And we should talk a little bit about that as well. Frank, maybe you want to take this one quickly. This recognition from William Merritt does come. It's not just a T-shirt and a plaque, right?
And a hearty handshake.
And a hearty handshake. That comes from Frank.
Yeah. I don't think the semifinalists. I'm not 100% confident what additional recognition comes with that. And the finalist status, if you're selected, that does come with some more recognition and scholarships and things like that. So I'm not 100% sure what comes at this level, other than an opportunity to fill out an application and write an essay and do some additional work to move up that extra level. But it's a great reminder of, okay, I'm doing all right as a student. I'm doing okay. To be selected, indicates that the work that you have put in has gotten you to the place where you want to be, and you're well positioned for what's going to come next.
Sure.
And that's what we hope these classes provide. Right now we have 20 different AP classes or advanced placement classes that are offered at Logan High. There are 20 different concurrent enrollment courses that are offered that are all designed to provide that type of support.
Sure.
Help students engage in the thought processes, acquire the content, information that will allow them to be successful regardless of what path they take. If they know exactly what they want to study right now, like Elia does, or they've got maybe 10 options on the table and are saying, well, I don't know. Well, if you take these courses, you're going to be prepared to have the skill set that's going to allow you to choose whichever those paths open up to you, and which one you look at and say, you know what, that's the path I want to go down right now. And as you've taken 10 steps down that path and you say, I don't like this path anymore, this one over here looks more interesting, you're still in a position to make that change. Because we know there's a lot of that happens to a lot of us when we go to college.
Sure.
The number of us that have changed our majors, I started as an English major and I switched to history because I didn't want to write that much. Yeah. I ended up writing more. It was just different. And then my minor shifted to Spanish as well. And, so we make those changes, but we're able to make those changes because we've developed the attitudes, the behaviors, and the skills that allow us to make those changes successfully.
Sure.
And that's something that these students have done, is they've developed those skills. So whether they have a path charted right now or they just choose to shift paths at some point in the future, they're able to do so because of the skills they've developed.
Either way, with this recognition, you're having, this message being sent straight to you as students that what you're doing is working, and if you choose to pursue it, you can do very well, and that has to feel pretty good, right? This is a really fun conversation. We're going to put them in the hot seat, though, on the other side of the news. For parents out there with students of your own, maybe you've got a student that was more like me, someone who struggled a bit, needed a little extra encouragement here and there to remember to even turn the assignments in. We'll ask Dehun, Ariane, and Elia for some tips, things that inspired them to take their education this seriously that might work for your teens. We'll be back with more of For the People and our guests from Logan High after this quick look at the news with KVNU's Bill Walter.
Thank you, Jason. KVNU News is brought to you by U&I Furniture. On Tuesday, Governor Spencer Cox announced 2 executive orders to promote service and volunteerism statewide. Executive Order 2023-08 will encourage each state agency to organize a department-wide service project and give employees 2 hours of administrative leave to participate. This order applies to the 24,000 state employees over the next year. Executive Order 2023-09 will add a community service component to businesses seeking economic development incentives from the state. Effective immediately, the Governor's Office of Economic Opportunity will require businesses that receive any kind of future economic development support to provide at least 20 service hours per high-paying job per year for the duration of the incentive. This order was issued to encourage service and volunteerism to become an ongoing corporate value for those who receive state incentives. Police say a hang glider and paraglider have collided and crashed in Utah, killing the paraglider pilot and seriously injuring his passenger. The hang glider pilot also was hurt in the crash Tuesday afternoon in Draper. Draper Police Lieutenant Mike Elkin says both non-powered aircraft took off from a park and went down hard in the same area nearby. The paraglider pilot killed was 44-year-old Joshua Ellison. The female passenger flying tandem with him is in critical condition. Elkin says that Ellison was experienced, and very few accidents are known to have happened at the park, which is popular with enthusiasts of non-powered aircraft. KVNU weather, partly cloudy skies tonight, low in the low 40s, and then sunny into the low 70s on Thursday, mid-70s on Friday. Weather is changing. Napa Auto Parts has what you need to have your car ready for winter. Get more cranking power with a Napa Legend or AAA battery. Save on silicone wiper blades from Trico or Rain-X at your 5 locations of Napa Auto Parts from Preston to Providence. You can always get more news at CashValleyDaily.com.
Is it time to upgrade or transform your dining area? Stop in and browse UNI Furniture's big selection of dining sets. UNI just picked up a spectacular assortment from different brand name manufacturers. They have small tables for 2 up to a big table for all family gatherings. UNI has lots of options, some with benches and swivel stools. And make sure you check out the chairs UNI has. Accent chairs, recliners, upholstered chairs, and more. There really is always a better buy at UNI. UNI Furniture in downtown Logan.
President Biden will address the nation tomorrow night, a day after his trip to Israel. The White House says he is expected to discuss the U.S. response to the deadly attacks by Hamas. The president told reporters on Air Force One that he'd accomplished on this trip what he'd hoped to.
The president says one of his top priorities talking with Israeli leaders, making sure they helped innocent civilians.
If you have an opportunity to alleviate the pain, you should do it, period. And if you don't, you're going to lose credibility worldwide.
President Biden speaking on his way home from Israel, not saying exactly what that country and others can do to help civilians and get hostages, including Americans, freed. Andy Field, ABC News, Washington.
The aid is expected to arrive in a matter of days. Capitol Police say about 300 people were arrested in a protest demanding a ceasefire. With continuing coverage, Israel-Hamas war. Daria Albinger, ABC News.
Good afternoon. This is Raydell Gibbons bringing you the Daily Financial Markets Report on behalf of financial advisor Tron Arnold and Edward Jones for Wednesday, October 18th. Equities closed lower today with higher interest rates and geopolitical headlines in focus. Beyond the outperformance of the energy sector that received a boost from higher oil prices, defense areas like consumer staples, utilities, and healthcare led today, while cyclical segments of the market, including small caps, were under the most pressure. Today, the Dow Jones closed down 333 points at 33,665. The NASDAQ closed down 219 points at 13,314. And the S&P 500 closed down 59 points at 4,315. In the bond market today, the 10-year Treasury yields are trading at 4.9% higher. For stocks of local interest, Thermo Fisher closed down $17.51 at $467.26. Home Depot's down $5.70 at $290.24. Autoleave's down $1.87 at $93.10. Lowe's is down $4.69 at $193.46. Walmart's up 12 cents at $161.54. Nucor's down $4.45 at $145.11. Coca-Cola's down 2 cents at 54.05. Kroger's down 26 cents at 44.23. And General Electric's down $2.45 at $107.57. Today, the price of crude oil was up $1.79 at $87.23 per barrel, and the price of gold was up $28.40 at $1,964.10. This has been today's Financial Market Report brought to you on behalf of Edward Jones, a member of the SIPC, and financial advisor Tron Arnold, serving individual investors with personalized attention and financial advice, located at 1202 South Highway 89 in Logan, Utah. If you'd like additional information, please contact our branch office at 752-3400. Daily commentary is also located on our website at edwardjones.com.
Daryl's Appliance provides the best repair service. Daryl's techs are trained to pre-diagnose your repair problem before they arrive at your home, so it can be completed on their first trip. As a plus, Daryl's parts department is stocked from A to Z for you do-it-yourselfers. And Daryl's has used parts to save you money. Dishwasher baskets, bake elements, microwave trays, and more. For sales and service since 1970, it's Daryl's Appliance, west on Airport Road.
Nearly 21 years ago, Cafe Sabor opened their doors in historic Logan train station. With the help of hundreds of amazing employees and patronage of thousands of wonderful customers, Cafe Sabor is proud to have been voted 3 years in a row Cache Valley's favorite Mexican restaurant in the Best of Northern Utah contest. Follow Cafe Sabor on social media for giveaways and promotions. Search Cafe Sabor for a restaurant near you. Thank you, Cache Valley, from your friends at Cafe Sabor.
Are you caring for an aging loved one and feeling overwhelmed? I invite you to consider how the supportive community at Legacy House of Logan can help. Their caretakers are so good at helping your loved one with the little things, like dressing, bathing, and managing medications. But Legacy House of Logan is more than just practical support. It's a social community where your loved one can make new friends. Come meet some of the people and tour the facility on 1400 North in Logan and online at legacylogan.com.
Welcome back to KVN News for the People. Really fun conversation happening here in the studio today with our friends from Logan City High School today. Every month we are joined by Frank Schofield and guests here in the studio and take a look inside the goings-on at the Logan School District. And this month, again, spotlighting 3 students from Logan City High who have gotten some recognition as semi-finalists in what is really a very competitive process known as the William Merritt Scholarship. This is something that very few people get the kind of recognition these 3 students have gotten. So as Frank has told us, Logan High, very proud to have these 3 students in the studio with us, Dahun, Ariane, and Elia from Logan High. We've heard from the 3 of you, what it took, in your opinion, what interests you in being this disciplined and dedicated to your own education. And I wanted to ask you all, if you have any, so we talked to a lot of parents on the show, and we oftentimes hear from teens as well. We talked to the governor just recently about his social media bills. He's trying to tackle mental health issues that we're seeing evidence of, at least maybe tied to social media in teens. And parents will tell you again and again, this is a really challenging time for them as parents. And I tend to want to respond to that and say, well, what parent wouldn't say that at any given time for any generation? There were always challenges, but there are some unique things about this day and age. I think the most unique thing about this day and age is, and I'm not saying this as a critic, I'm a huge fan, TikTok, for example. It is really hard to put down. You have this device in your pocket that is connected to everything and just begging you to be a distraction. You have a lot of push and pull from the outside world, even as a student, as a sophomore, junior, or senior in high school, and then also the pressure of decide what you want to do with your life. It would be so easy to get distracted. You can see why a lot of students do. And I was one of those students in high school. What would you say to parents now as far as, the discipline you've shown towards your own education, the dedication all 3 of you have shown towards your own education? Is it something anyone can do with the right mindset?
I think absolutely. Because, I don't know, my philosophy has always been that no matter how focused on your academics you are, you should always put aside substantial time to just kind of play.
Sure.
And, while you're playing, not even thinking about academics. When you play, you just play. And when you study, you just study.
Sure.
And for example, taking TikTok, I am a TikTok addict.
It's easy.
And
it's extremely funny, right?
I love to scroll through that for hours. And I found that it makes it a lot easier to study when I set aside 1.5 hours just straight up to scroll on TikTok.
To allow yourself that.
Mm-hmm. And there's no sense of maybe I should be studying. I'm just enjoying scrolling through TikTok for an hour and a half. And it makes it easier for me to study and focus on studying when that hour and a half is up. Because I don't know.
I like that concept. The actually, dedicating some time to say, hey, this is time to waste, if you want to put it that way, and not feel guilty about it, right? Allows you to then, go back to your studies more seriously. Mm-hmm. That is very cool. You, Ariane, any advice for parents or other teens out there?
I agree. I'm also a TikTok addict and an Instagram Reels addict and all of those things. And I also do the same thing because I feel like sometimes your mind just can't focus anymore, and it doesn't matter how much you want it. Like, there's only so much you can do. And I also feel like exercising for me really helps, even if it's not for a long time. Like, if I have to sit for a long time and not move my body, that always wreaks havoc on my focus.
Sure. Makes sense. And for you, Elia, any advice or tips for parents out there?
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I think
it's hard. We can't see it. So everyone knows Ellie and I can actually see each other because of this giant screen I have. So sorry, it's awkward.
I think to me, one of the most inspiring things in education is being able to put yourself in a place where you're sort of stimulated educationally. So AP classes are a great example of that, because I have AP classes with both Dehun and Ariane, and they're two of the smartest people I've ever met in my life. And being able to watch them learn and see how they study and being able to learn from them and talk with them is just so inspiring and also so validating, because you can say, oh, I also struggle with TikTok, and I also watch Instagram Reels, and I also give myself time to relax, and that's okay. And you're seeing that people who you have so much respect for are also struggling with the same silly things that you are, and you can not feel bad about that, and then be able to focus on academics separately from focusing on just letting yourself have fun, and know that that's okay, and that's what everyone else is also doing.
Sure. That is... do you all feel, we're talking about achievement here and deservedly, but do you all feel, and maybe you could even provide some examples if you want to really throw it out there here on the radio to all thousands of listeners today, but do you feel, allowing yourself, I don't know if the word is forgiveness or understanding or whatever, but failure is going to happen, right? You've received this recognition, you've done very well, you've taken your education seriously, but I assume there have been a few face plants, a few mistakes, a few bad decisions, things like that throughout your educational career, young as you are even. Is it important to let that happen and not beat yourself up? Dehun's going to say, oh, I've never me. I can see it. Everyone's got something, though, right?
Yeah.
Do you want to tell any stories?
I think it's definitely important to let yourself fall. As Dehun mentioned, we all took AP Physics last year, and Dehun and Ariane were both very good at it.
We all failed.
Okay, well,
really?
We all had a really hard time at AP Physics. And I just remember I sat next to Ariane, and she was so good at it. Like, everything she seemed to understand, and I was having such a hard time. And I think that was really important for me to see, is like, I'm not always going to be amazing at things, but I need to learn how to just try and focus on things that I'm not good at. And it's something that makes you appreciate the things that you are good at, but also that makes you learn how to fail and how to get back up again and try again and work harder. And like taking really hard classes, for example, like AP Physics, is such a great way to do that.
That is, I'm not celebrating all of you failing AP Physics, but it also is at the same time a great story, because here we are today talking about your achievements, and the obvious takeaway from that is that despite that failure last year, none of the three of you quit, threw in the towel. That's an important thing to recognize here today, I think, because we're all going to fail, right? We're all going to make bad decisions. You may get into college and like I did, or as Frank mentioned, he did as well. You get a year and a half in and think, what am I doing majoring in this? I hate this. It's bound to happen, but to not let it get you down. Do you get discouraged? Are there days when you do wake up and think, I'm going to fake a flu today? I don't want to do it.
I would say maybe not faking a flu, because we have a really strict attendance policy at our school.
Yeah, that's Frank's fault, right? Yeah.
It's okay. Plus, we do so much in our AP classes that it's honestly worse not to go and have to make up the work than to go in the first place.
Sure.
But I would definitely say, because sometimes, at least for me, over the summer, what will happen is I'll be like, I want to do all these classes. It's going to be so fun. I'm going to learn so much, and I'm going to have the greatest time. And then 2 weeks in, I'm like, why did I pick these? And I definitely think I get discouraged, and I'm like, I'm never taking this again. And then obviously it gets better, but I definitely have phases where I feel like I made the wrong class decision just because I get overwhelmed really quickly.
Sure.
But I overcome it every time, and so I've kind of just accepted it as like a part of my emotions cycle at school.
Sure.
And that's how it is.
Do you, for the three of you again, and I promise last question, and then we'll stop picking your brains here. It's just so fascinating to get your perspective. But do you feel, what do you feel the unique challenges for your generation are as you not only go through high school, but leaving high school and going into college? We read a lot about the worries of each up-and-coming generation and what concerns them, what causes anxiety. And it's different for each generation. But to put it mildly, I think your generation is facing a list of things to be anxious about that hasn't been this long since those who were graduating high school in the late 60s. Is that something that you're aware of? Is it kind of in the back of your mind? Do you have anxiety about the future of for yourself and the world?
I think a lot of my peers have some anxiety about like living up to expectations, trying to be perfect and whatnot. But I think for the most part, a lot of people do a good job of just kind of like realizing that it's all kind of part of the process. You can't really achieve anything without failing, because if you don't fail, you won't know really what's broken and what to fix.
Sure.
So
that's well said, dude. I like that. And I have to tell you all this as well. You're growing up. Your generation has better music than mine did. Grunge was. I don't even know what happened there. Bill's sitting there in a flannel shirt, looking at me. What's the matter with grunge?
I can go back even further.
It is fascinating to get to talk to you, all three of you, and appreciate you letting me pick your brains here. Any final thoughts for listeners out there? Again, for other students, for parents, for Frank? Yeah, any criticism for Frank? Things you think that the superintendent could do a little better? No, he's perfect? Okay, that's fair. Frank, any final thoughts from you over there?
Kind of just to build on the theme that you just brought up a second ago, there is a lot of talk, and we see this in popular media and out there with concerns about the youth of today. Okay, well, what's going to happen next? Because some people hear the term TikTok addict, and they think, okay, this is somebody who just never leaves their house, doesn't do anything productive, and they just, they're just on their phone all day long. And I think what you have here tonight is an example of young people who who understand the concept of balance in their lives. There have always been the previous generations that looked at the younger generation and disapproved of the type of entertainment they engaged in, or the type of activities they participated in. That's nothing new. What I think is important for us to remember and to recognize is when we see examples of students like these, we can have confidence that the path that our young people are on, that students are on, that our community is on, that our society is on, is not a bad path. There are always things that pop up that cause us anxiety or frustration with society and the world. Goodness knows there's plenty going on right now.
Sure.
But the thing that I love about watching students, and one of the things I love about visiting classes at the high school, is to see the positivity and the energy and the sense of purpose and direction that so many of our students have. And that sense of purpose and direction is what drives them to do really incredible things. We've talked before about things that our students do to help their peers feel included and feel part of the group, to feel that there's a sense of connection, a sense of community, and how that sense of community allows us to move things forward and do great things. And what I love about hearing students like, Elia and Ariane and Dahun, and I'm saying them all real carefully this time, trying to not mess up, is they show that passion, that excitement, and that direction and that drive. And that's what will drive our communities, will drive our countries, and will drive the world forward in positive directions. So that's just always what I love to finish this with. And every time I leave Logan High, I leave feeling that same thing. Excitement for the future, because I see who is going to be creating that future. And we've got some really outstanding students in our schools who are going to make sure that the future that we get to enjoy is a good one.
Sure. I'm with you, Frank. To the three of you as well, it is inspirational to talk to three very young people who have it together, to say the least. And it does make you hopeful for the future. And again, your music options are better than ours, so I won't criticize the music at all for Gen Z. Thank you for joining us, to Hoon, Ariane, and Elia, to Frank, to our listeners as well. Stay tuned. More of For the People coming up right after this.
We invite you to join us at S.E. Needham Jewelers for an exclusive estate and antique jewelry event this Friday and Saturday, October 20th and 21st. The beauty of antique jewelry shines again at this extraordinary jewelry event. Select from a collection of jewelry from the Georgian, Victorian, Edwardian, and Art Deco periods. Many contemporary treasures, exotic gems, and one-of-a-kind pieces are also available. You will marvel at the craftsmanship and pride of eras gone past. Again, join us all day Friday and Saturday, October 20th and 21st from 10 to 7 p.m. S.E. Needham Jewelers, middle of the block at the sign of the clock.
Intermountain Budge ENT Clinic has an experienced and caring team of physicians and staff to assist you with all of your ear, nose, and throat concerns, including head and neck surgery. Doctors Kaiser and Wilson and their staff at Intermountain Budge ENT Clinic will work together to provide excellent care and support throughout the entire surgery process, from your pre-op visit to your full recovery. And they accept all insurance. For more information about Doctors Kaiser or Wilson, search Budge Clinic ENT or call 435-716-1420. Local care with Intermountain expertise.
The Cache Valley Media Group's Holiday Gift Show is now accepting applications for the 2023 show, November 3rd and 4th at the Riverwoods Conference Center. Show your creative, unique, festive, and one-of-a-kind gift ideas to thousands of holiday shoppers. This wonderful gift show is truly a step above. Search Logan Holiday Gift Show for details or call 752-1390 for more information.
That's 752-1390.
The Logan Holiday Gift Show is presented by Coppins Hallmark. Space is limited. Reserve your booth today.
I'm Larry Gelwicks, the getaway guru for Morris, Columbus Travel and Viking Cruises. Explore Europe on a deluxe river cruise. Visit Castle Country as you sail the Rhine River, visiting the Netherlands, France, Germany, and Switzerland, or amazing history along the Danube River, visiting Austria, Hungary, and Slovakia. Give us a call at Morris, Columbus Travel.
Come on and get away, Morris Columbus.
Your 401k is likely one of your most important assets, but it's only one part of a comprehensive retirement strategy. Edward Jones can help you understand how your retirement assets fit into your entire retirement picture, so you work toward your unique retirement goals. Contact one of the 7 offices of Edward Jones in Cache Valley or go to edwardjones.com. Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Member SIPC.
Coming up on the Thursday edition of the Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show, we're live in D.C. watching all things here in the Capitol very closely, as well as overseas with the latest on Israel's war in Gaza. Plus, Clay,
we'll also break down everything going on with the speaker battle and the continued discussion surrounding the primary season. That'll be Clay and Buck Thursday edition. Come hang.
10 to 1 on News Talk KVNU, 102 FM at 610 AM.
Vicky, how you doing? How's the knee?
It's coming along, doctor, but still some soreness.
Well, let's see. You know, this soon after surgery, some pain is pretty normal.
I was hoping to get more painkillers. The first round worked great.
We're being very careful with those now. Prescription painkillers are opioids, same as heroin. It's easy to start taking them, not so easy to stop.
Last year in America, an average of 40 people died from opioid abuse every day. Long-term addiction has become America's newest health epidemic.
So no pills?
Vicky, you're doing great. So let's try these anti-inflammatories, plus your physical therapy. If the soreness doesn't continue to get better, give me a call.
For opioids, the smaller the dose prescribed and taken, the better. Because even a few prescription painkillers can sometimes go a long, wrong way. A message from the American Academy of Orthopedic Surgeons and the Orthopedic Trauma Association. Visit orthoinfo.org/prescription safety.
The Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council present the story of Tom and Levi.
Tom is the smartest man I know. He's been a professor at 2 major universities, been a teacher for over 40 years. One day, he told me that he was having problems in his classes. I think one of the students had asked the question and he didn't remember the answer. I also noticed that he was letting his class out earlier than they were supposed to let out. And he was telling them that he was doing it as a favor to them, but I think in reality, he just wanted to get out of there. I was really starting to worry because I saw something was wrong.
Levi and I talked about how it would change our lives, but he was there beside me, and my love for him was just immense.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. Visit alz.org/ourstories to learn more. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Hi everybody, I'm Kristen Chenoweth. When our servicemen and women return from war, they often carry wounds that the rest of us cannot see. Up to 1 in 5 veterans who served in Iraq and Afghanistan are diagnosed with post-traumatic stress. And often, even the best treatment, including medication and therapy, they fall short. Sadly, more than 6,000 veterans die every year from suicide. Thanks to the life-saving power of the human-animal bond, professionally trained service dogs can help. But connecting a veteran with a well-trained service dog can be difficult. Wait lists are long and training can cost tens of thousands of dollars. But service dogs can bring healing. If you're a veteran or know a veteran struggling with post-traumatic stress or traumatic brain injury, please go to AmericanHumane.org to learn about their Pups for Patriots program, which provides dogs to veterans for free of charge. Let's help our veterans heal from the invisible wounds of war.
Covering all the news. Stay with 610 AM and 102.1 FM. Breaking news and stimulating.